Your Excellency, Madam Ursula von der Leyen, President of the European Commission, and your esteemed delegation, Mr. Deputy President, Prime Cabinet Secretary, members of Cabinet, our governors, members of the diplomatic corps, private sector representatives present here. Good morning. I have the immense honor of welcoming you all to Nairobi for this very important event. More particularly, I take this opportunity to welcome our great friend, and as a people and a nation, Her Excellency Ursula von der Leyen, President of the European Commission, together with her entire delegation who have traveled to Kenya to witness the signing of the Kenya-EU Economic Partnership Agreement. This highly positive, historic, and transformative development is the culmination of highly committed engagements anchored by long-standing cordial ties between Kenya and the 27 countries which form the EU, both jointly and severally. This salient feature of these ties include such shared values and common multilateral objectives as a strong commitment to democracy and rule of law, respect for human rights, peace and security, as well as combating climate change. Under these conditions, our trade, investment, and people-to-people relations have ensured that our ties have inevitably grown stronger and closer and flourished over time. Our presence here has been made possible by years of consistent work towards the establishment of a permanent mechanism to underpin trade and investment and transform our mutually beneficial relations, broaden two-way trade, establish new investments, and add value to the items currently being traded between Kenya and the European Union. At the core of this arrangement is our aspiration to put real money into the pockets of ordinary people, farmers, craftsmen and women, fabricators, transporters, various other kinds of workers who contribute to the manufacturing, intercontinental transport, and last-mile delivery to consumers of various products that are a subject of the signing of this agreement today. Today, therefore, is a great day for the hard-working people who often make their contribution to job creation, innovation, and value addition through micro, small, and medium enterprises and small businesses. I am talking about the unassuming lady in Kieni who rises every day without fail to tend to her little shamba of snow peas, which eventually cross seas and find their way to European dinner tables, or the many workers whose labor produce globally competitive buckets of fresh flowers, or the mango and avocado growers whose patient toil over the years have enabled us to deliver very high quality fruits to Europe and the world. It is the interests, aspirations, hopes, and dreams of these and many others that have inspired the exemplary dedication of our capable negotiating teams to remain determined to proceed beyond the Kenya-European strategic dialogue to the successful delivery of this economic partnership agreement. There is no doubt that trade in goods is very important for investors in our markets. However, trade in services is equally vital, as I commend the two negotiating teams led by Madam Dora Correa for the EU and Alfred Kombuda for Kenya. I encourage them to remain committed to negotiating a future agreement that will open up trade in services between markets in Europe and Kenya and enable various types of professionals, engineers, doctors, nurses, environmental technicians, clinical technicians, accountants, the performing art like music and theater, as well as many other services to serve a freer and a bigger market. This ceremony is important because we have successfully negotiated a framework for the delivery of the bottom-up economic transformation agenda by connecting our hard-working workers and entrepreneurs with transformative opportunities in one of Kenya's biggest export markets, which accounts for 21% of our country's total exports, worth $1.4 billion, or close to 200 billion Kenya shillings. The EU's 27 member countries, 16 trillion euro market, contributed 17% to global GDP and is one of Kenya's biggest trading partners, whose exports to our market now amount to US dollars 2.1 billion. The variety of goods traded between the EU and Kenya underscores the potential of this bilateral trade framework to deliver trade and investment of volumes, diversity, and promise that we can only conclude that although today represents a moment of monumental promise, it is also the beginning of a historic partnership for historic transformation. The EU is not just a giant, lucrative market. It is a premium market whose demand guarantees higher earnings for our products and will drive our export production to higher levels of competitiveness. The EU is one of our country's largest development partnerships, and I expect that with the signing of the Economic Partnership Agreement, development cooperation will be significantly enhanced, especially in the areas of trade and investment, and with a special focus on Kenya's commitment to pursue a transition to a green economy. With the signing of the agreement, therefore, we have a permanent agreement, capacity development, and value addition in order to increase and diversify our exports into the European Union. A good example of the great positive potential arising out of this agreement is the transformation of our leather value chain. We have the third largest herd of livestock in Africa. The agreement has catalyzed our interventions to increase the productivity and competitiveness of the sector by securing a large lucrative market for finished leather products, which include industrial goods, everyday footwear, bags, straps, car interiors, and accessories. The people of Kenya will remember that I have consistently stated that most of our hides and skins go to waste. We now have an opportunity to derive value from our hides and skins, and I am very happy that this agreement has come into place. Consequently, Kenyan and European investors in the leather value chain are already benefiting from the opportunity to export to the EU. To meet the high standards required by the EU, our manufacturers have transformed their production through investment in modern equipment and processes from the EU. So it's a real partnership for us to use the raw materials we have. We're going to deploy European technology so that we can export high-quality leather products to that market. And let me conclude, through this agreement, we are signaling to the world that Kenya is ready to manufacture and export high-value premium products to Europe and to the world at large. And I trust that this ceremony will inaugurate the arrival of investments in other manufacturing areas, including chemicals, pharmaceuticals, medical supplies, and equipment. And Madam President, let me just inform you that just last week, we went out to provide infrastructure. There was an announcement last week of in the works. We're now going to provide infrastructure in those special economic zones, and we're looking forward to investment from Europe and from elsewhere so that we can use these facilities with very high incentives to develop manufacturing and value addition capabilities, especially for adding value to our products. Between myself and the county governors who are present here, we are improving the market value chain, building 400 markets across Kenya, whole agricultural value chain, all the way to the exports that will find themselves into Europe, have a trace and chain that will provide infrastructure for that to be done systematically. There is no doubt that the agreement will promote significant transformation of various value chains. We are committed to deliver our plan for Kenya through a considered value chain approach, which places emphasis on cardinal issues of competitiveness and value proposition in each of our interventions. As shown above, the agreement goes far in facilitating our preferred delivery approach for Kenyans. Further, the agreement will usher in the era of blended opportunities with the EAC, COMESA, and SCFTA mechanisms supporting attractive investment potential. I am particularly happy that this agreement we are signing today leaves the door open, and I say wide open, for our EAC partners to join into this agreement so that together as a region we can benefit from the economies of scale, and Europe can equally benefit from the economies of scale in our part of the world. In the agreement, Kenya and the EU are committed to advance their mutual trade, investment, and economic cooperation objectives sustainably through the implementation of a strong joint environmental agenda. Through the agreement, therefore, Kenya has found a like-minded partner equally committed to the transition into a green economy and towards that end to pursue sustainable trade. I am therefore proud to be here today to witness this historic milestone in our journey of national economic transformation. It is clear now, more than ever, that the future holds greater promise than was understood previously, and that agreements like this go a long way to define our promise as a nation. Madam President and your delegation, we are immensely that you have taken time during this holiday season to come in person to witness this agreement, and it speaks volumes of your commitment and the value Europe attaches to this agreement. And I want to tell you that we too immensely value the relationship between Kenya and Europe. Thank you very much. Welcome, Madam President.
Thank you very much, President Ruto. Excellencies, distinguished guests, good morning. What a pleasure to be here with you. Indeed, it is a pleasure back in Nairobi, and I want to express how much the European Union values this partnership with Kenya. It is very important for us. We may be on different